What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the new subscribers. Welcome back to the old subscribers. I hope everyone is doing well. Doing some general readings for all the signs. I'm on the sign of Aries. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. You know. Wherever Aries lands. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, check out the About section of my channel as well as the description box below for more information. Some of you guys have a level of curiosity around something like, how does everything connect? Like, how am I connected to everything? You know, some of you guys are really working on your stability, but you feel like there's a lot of things you don't know. You guys are coming to like a new level of individuality, and maybe you're kind of keeping to yourselves. Maybe some of you guys are kind of unknown about your potential. Some of you guys are wanting to maybe try something new. The Hanged Man. Usually when you're in the Hanged Man state, it means you're gaining a perspective that you didn't see before. There's something that you need to release. There's some kind of lesson you need to learn. You could be holding on to something from your past. I do feel like you're not as stuck as you think. You have the Justice card. Some of you guys could be dealing with a Libra. You have the King of Wands. Could be some type of desire you have here for another fire sign. Two of Wands. Someone you're kind of waiting for. Or you're like, maybe this person's kind of waiting on you to like show up. You know what I mean? You have the Eight of Pentacles. You're working really hard at something. Maybe you guys have been working on yourselves, but I feel like you're figuring out some things about yourself. You have the Queen of Pentacles. You know, keeping a close eye on your finances, making sure all the bills are paid. Some of you guys might be good at finance and legal degrees, FYI. Five of Swords. Yikes. Winning at all costs. You guys have a talent for cutting words at times. The only other asshole sign I can think of that could even match you is probably Gemini and Scorpio, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Your communication holds weight, Aries, and I feel like Three of Cups. Sometimes it's hard for people to understand you. It's hard for people to be your friend because of your ego. You have the Knight of Pentacles, the Fool card, and the Six of Swords. You're ready to go. You're ready to go in a new direction. Some of you guys have been through hell. With the Nine of Cups, some of you guys have a lot of achievements, but at the same time, I feel like you guys made the decision to walk away from someone or something, and I think that you're kind of keeping your eye on your own bobber. You're figuring out maybe what it's going to take for Aries to be happy. You know, you want to be around people that are fun and loyal, but at the same time, some of your abilities, especially when it comes to philosophy and just your whole mindset, is very different from other people. Before I did your reading, I was thinking about the different levels of consciousness, and Aries represents the first and the seventh level of consciousness. Not only are you here to set things off when it comes to developing your own personality, a sense of individuality, a sense of setting yourselves apart from what the norm would be. You know, it's all about figuring out like a new way of expressing yourselves. It's all about you know, embodying this really strong energy, but also learning to rely on yourself, figuring out how powerful you are. And you know, it's about dependability, it's about your personality, it's about your physical well-being as well as your mind. And this is a major part of the consciousness of humanity, because a lot of people look to another person to kind of shape them into who they are, or for someone to help them or tell them who they should be. But this is all about changing the old ways of thinking, changing the old thought patterns. This is about realizing that you in your own right are powerful, that you don't need another person or another drug or a doctor to tell you, who you are, and you don't let it define you, but your expression, like I said, holds weight. And I feel like for some of you, maybe it's time to work on that, because maybe the reason that you guys are being held up to a certain extent is because there's some level of justice that's coming here, but justice represents you in more than one way, I feel like, than some of you realize. I think that there's a level of appreciation for your overall fairness. There's a level of needing to educate yourself, maybe the people that you're around, and maybe it's for a reason, but at the end of the day, you're at the first level of consciousness and then you're to the 7th level. So those are your 2 life lessons. For you, it's realizing that love is an awakening for you. Because at the first, you're kind of transforming all the negative platforms, time frames, old, outdated, programming and oppression and all the bullshit that everyone believes about themselves. But it's a grounding that energy, as well as on the 7th level, you are using love, wisdom, and compassion to bring order out of chaos. Leading people into a place of coming together. And that has a lot to do with your communication. That has a lot to do with your personality. That has a lot to do with your physical strength. Has a lot to do with your gifts and talents that you have in real life. You have this authoritative energy. You have this sense of realism, but it's important for you to not get caught up in the bullshit that everyone else is, because it might take you a while to catch on to the things that you're meant to learn in this life. But I'm here to give you a little heads up, you know what I mean? Because some of you guys are ready to see the vision for yourself, and the reality is that love conquers all. That compassion and love and wisdom come from a very different place of bringing oneness to the entire humanity. And that if we live in a place of fear, or we're driven from a place of fear, then that just kind of breeds the same hate ground that's been here for however long that everyone kind of lives in, but taking a different approach, being more gentle, being more compassionate, having a sense of peace, patience, independence, not being afraid to do your own thing, being curious about things in life. Some of you guys, it's a lonely road because there's not going to be a lot of people that think like you. Some of you guys are meant to be the movers and the shakers and the teachers, and it's going to require a really long journey, but the sooner that you catch on, the sooner you're able to express your individuality in that way. I think that some of you guys are very good at structure and planning and working, and you know how to win a fight, but at the same time, this is about you not taking it to that level and working together with another person, having this idea of moving things forward, but with optimism and, reprogramming your unconscious mind for some of you, because there's a sense of balance and harmony that hasn't been in this world for a very long time. And it has a lot to do with having a sense of confidence in ourselves, healing, spending some time alone, realizing our strength, opening up our chakras. For you, it would be your root chakra and your crown chakra. Connecting with a higher sense of consciousness, not really being stuck in the 3D matrix where it's all about money, cars, and clothes and hoes, because some of you guys have already had that and you don't feel fulfilled. And the reason is that's not what you're here for. That's not what anyone's here for, but that's what you've been programmed to believe. If you look up the reptilian brain and kind of how everyone's been programmed through kind of like a sales pitch overall. So everyone's kind of stuck in a low vibration because it's easier to control people when they're in that energy that's built on hate and greed and fear and survival and, getting there first and winning, and but there's a sense of loss when it comes to spirituality for some people, because that's not what you're sent here to do. You're not here to outsmart another person. You're here to work with another person. You're here to uplift people and work together. And the ego that comes with having possessions, and the lust and the sex and the drugs and whatever type of addiction would probably keep you in that level of hell for a very long time, until you realize that that's not what you're here for. You're meant for more. And not only that, but your fearlessness and your strength and your ability, your capability is unmatched. And that's why you're here when it starts and you're here when it ends. And it's time for some of you guys to incorporate that. It's time for you guys to realize you spent a lot of past lives not realizing your purpose for a very long time. That your sense of sociability, is that a word? It's not about you. It's about the whole. It's about realizing you and your own power, and then leading other people into the same thing, because you're going to come at this point in your life where you feel like there's something that you want to do, or a place that you want to go, and maybe the reason that you're not happy, or maybe why you keep learning the same lessons over and over again, is because there's a need to do more studying, especially when it comes to spirituality. I can't remember what God Aries works with, but you come from the god of war and the god of creation, from Aries, the god Aries, Ares, from Mars. And then there's another one from Egypt, it's Khnum, because you kind of like setting off this sense of war, because you're doing something that hasn't been done anymore, but it's almost just like leading people into this, but in a different way, because you're creating this and you're bringing it into fruition. Some of you guys would benefit from hypnotherapy, especially if you've been through some pretty traumatic childhood trauma. The type of shit that people don't talk about, like being molested or raped or touched or whatever the fuck people go through that they can't deal with, because our brains were never taught how to process any kind of trauma. So our subconscious holds on to it until death do us part, basically. And we need to learn how to reprogram it. And the best way, I think, for that type of abuse and trauma is using hypnotherapy and going back and releasing those emotions and getting them out, and taking care of yourself and bringing a sense of balance and harmony within yourself, and understand that you're not meant to be here to live in a place of fear and to drive that energy, because you are powerful, obviously the god of war. But what kind of war are we starting? Are we setting fires, or are we looking for a way to solve things? Because you have whatever outcome you choose, but ultimately the reason you are given the abilities that you have is to bring people together and to lead them out of the chaos. And that comes through love. So this is something that your soul would recognize. Some of you guys have a lot of knowledge to teach other people. You have a level of intelligence that a lot of people don't have. You have some abilities that no other people have. And it's because you're built for this. This is what you're meant to do. And I think that maybe your God just wanted me to tell you that. You're meant to be leaders. You're meant to share your wisdom and your strength and your friendly and gentle nature with other people, because that's the experience, but it's ultimately your decision, otherwise some of you guys might be stuck in the hanged man or dealing with challenges for 2 to 10 more years. I mean, it's up to you. So you have to go through a sense of change and intense emotions, but in reality, it will help you kind of visualize your life as a bigger picture, as a whole, and then finding your purpose and then evolving people. And a lot of it has to do with mental health. A lot of it has to do with the stamina and the strength and the individuality and the happiness and the growth and the freedom that comes along with not believing what you were told, as well as other people. So that's all I have for you guys. Have a good night.